Hello, my friends. We are retired people living in a typical mid-sized Russian city. I decided to start making video blogs about our daily life. We studied English only at school many years ago. And to be honest, we remember very little of it now. That is why, for narration, we use artificial intelligence. The voice you hear is not exactly mine, but it is based on my real one and sounds quite close. I am very curious to know how native English speakers feel about this voice. Does it sound natural to you? Is it pleasant to listen to? Please let me know in the comments, because for me, it is hard to judge. And also, I wonder if my little blogs are interesting at all. So far, there are not many views, and sometimes I ask myself, why am I even doing this? Maybe simply for fun, maybe just because it is something new and unusual for me. These technologies are exciting, and it is nice to learn something modern even at my age. But if you were watching, I would be very happy if you shared your thought. So, let's begin today's video. Our main goal today is to buy tiles for our bathroom, because as you may remember, we are building a house with our own hands. But before that, we will stop at the grocery store.
We live on the edge of the city, so usually when we drive into town once a week, we also visit our favorite supermarkets. Today, we decided to take you with us on this little trip. On the screen, you can see the road. It usually takes us about 20-30 minutes by car to get to the center. Along the way, there are mostly small villages, industrial buildings, not really city center-y. It is our ordinary landscape, but maybe it looks different from what you are used to in your countries. Since we live on the edge of the city, we spend quite a lot of time driving, and I thought this would be a good chance to tell you about Russian roads. Russia is the largest country in the world, and of course, the road system is huge and very different depending on the region. Some highways are modern, wide, and smooth with good gas stations and rest areas. But sometimes, when you leave the main routes, the roads can look, let's say, a bit adventurous. There is an old saying here. Russia has two main problems, fools and roads. It's a joke, of course, but there is some truth in it. Many people complain about potholes, endless construction, and traffic jams. In winter, roads are covered with snow and ice. That makes driving a real challenge, especially outside the cities. In spring, when the snow melts, the water and frost leave behind holes and cracks. So every year, a lot of repairs are needed. And in summer, well, in summer you often find road construction everywhere. So it feels like there is always some reason to drive slowly. But it is not all negative. In the last 10-15 years, the situation has improved a lot. Many federal highways are now in very good condition. Bridges and tunnels are being built. New bypasses around cities too. So step by step, the roads are becoming better.
And sometimes, driving in Russia brings funny surprises. On small country roads, you can meet cows crossing the street or a tractor slowly moving in the middle of the lane. Once, we even saw a moose.
So driving here is never boring.
For us, roads are just part of everyday life. It takes us 20-30 minutes to reach the city center, and along the way we pass through villages, factories, fields, and sometimes very bumpy pavement. It is not always comfortable, but it is our reality.
Now let's take a walk through our grocery stores.
While editing the video, I realized that I filmed very quickly, and it may be hard to see all the prices and products. So I will read out the main ones from memory. To make it easier for you, I will name the prices in dollars.
Now we're walking through our local shopping mall. You can find everything here: grocery stores, pharmacies, clothing shops. Sometimes we just stroll around, look at the windows, and compare prices. Pharmacies are easy to find, and you can get almost anything, from simple vitamins to stronger medicine. Of course, prices go up little by little, but the choice is wide. We don't always buy something. Sometimes it's just nice to walk, take a look around, and share a bit of our everyday life with you. We don't use dollars here, of course, but I know it is more convenient for foreign viewers. The exchange rate is simple. 100 rubles equals about $1. On the screen, you will also see the prices in rubles. Here are some of the most popular products converted for you. Milk, 60 rubles to $0.60 for 1 liter. That's about a quart.
Bread, 30 rubles to $0.30 for a loaf. Pork, 400 rubles per kilo to $1.80 per 1 pound. Beef, 800 rubles per kilo to $3.60 per 1 pound. Chicken, 400 rubles per kilo to $1.80 per 1 pound. Potatoes, 50 rubles per kilo to $0.22 per 1 pound.
Cucumbers, 80 rubles per kilo to $0.36 per 1 pound.
Tomatoes, 160 rubles per kilo to $0.72 per 1 pound. Cheese, 200 rubles for 200 grams to $0.29 per 1 ounce. Butter, 170 rubles for 200 grams to $0.24 per 1 ounce. Cake, 500 rubles to $5 for a medium cake.
Jam, 110 rubles for 300 grams to $0.11 per 1 ounce. Low quality sausage, 300 rubles for 300 grams to $0.10 per 1 ounce.
High quality sausage, 500 rubles for 300 grams to $0.50 per 1 ounce. Pasta, 80 rubles for 450 grams to $0.80 for about 1 pound. Tea, 300 rubles for 100 tea bags to $3. And the rest of the products you can see on the screen. I won't list all of them now, but once again, remember 100 rubles equals $1, so you can calculate very easily. Usually, we buy a full cart of groceries for the week, and it costs us around 2,000 rubles, or about $20. That is enough for a good variety of food, everything we like to eat. We try to balance price and quality because the choice is really wide. Some products are very cheap, but often full of artificial ingredients. Others are too expensive farm-made or eco goods. So we go somewhere in the middle. We read the labels, and over time, we found brands that we trust. For example, my husband has his favorites. He especially likes Belarusian sausages. They are considered tasty and of good quality, although a bit more expensive than others. Of course, prices are rising gradually. Inflation and world events affect everything. But still, when we traveled abroad, we noticed that in many countries, the cost of food seemed higher than here. That is an interesting topic for a future discussion, perhaps. Before I finish, I want to ask you, maybe you can suggest some topics for future videos? My husband and I could share our honest experiences and stories. A little about our grocery stores here in Russia. We usually visit them once a week because we live on the outskirts of the city. The stores are busy, but not overcrowded, and people here are calm and polite, mostly focused on choosing their food carefully.
In Russia, people love fresh bread. You can find so many kinds: rye bread, white bread, small rolls.
Milk and dairy products are very popular too, and people often buy sour cream, cheese, and butter. We also like simple meals with potatoes, cabbage, and carrots, very traditional and comforting.
Meat is important in Russian cuisine, but people usually prefer pork, beef, or chicken in smaller portions. Sausages are very popular, but there's a big difference between cheap and high-quality ones. My husband has his favorite brands from Belarus, and he says they taste better and are made more carefully.
Seasonal fruits and vegetables are very common in stores. Cucumbers, tomatoes, apples, berries. These are often bought fresh, not imported. In comparison, in the US, I noticed people often rely on packaged salads, pre-cut vegetables, or frozen food. We like to cook from scratch and enjoy the process.
Snacks and sweets are everywhere too. Chocolate, cakes, jam, and cookies are very popular.
And Russian people like tea more than coffee. Tea is a daily habit, almost like a little ceremony at home. We always have a few kinds in the cupboard, and sometimes I buy new flavors just to try it. Prices are usually reasonable, especially if you know which stores to visit. People here are used to comparing, looking at labels, and thinking about both quality and cost. Inflation makes things change slowly, but Russian shoppers have learned to adapt. Something I find interesting is that people often buy ingredients for long cooking, like soups, stews, or pickles instead of ready meals. It's very different from what we saw abroad, where convenience is more important. Cooking at home is part of life here. Finally, walking through these stores, I feel a connection to our everyday life and traditions. It's not just shopping, it's a glimpse into how people live, what they value, and what they enjoy eating.
I hope this little tour gives you a sense of our world and maybe inspires you to try some Russian recipes yourself. We have seen so many strange and misleading things written about our country on the internet, and we are ready to talk openly about what life is really like here, at least from our point of view. So please write your thoughts, questions, and comments below.
Thank you for watching. This was just an ordinary day for us, but I hope it gives you a small glimpse into everyday life in Russia. See you in the next video.